height and depth on that cross, Moroni, but, you know, half a chance for Stamatopoulos. Gets down well, but he skews off the outside of the boot.
Michael Moroni there. Might be thinking about what's to come if Strain is out of the team for a few weeks. He's still in centre-back at the moment, but right back has been a position of his for the bulk of his A-League career. And he's on the ball here, Moroni. Isaias is not commanding the ball in the middle of the park, directing traffic, telling Boland to go backwards instead.
Well, the pattern of the game has been exactly what you're seeing now. Adelaide pretty comfortable in possession in their own half. That's where most of their passes have come. Mariners waiting for a mistake, but Adelaide really haven't found the penetration needed.
That was clever from Isaias, lost Carregan and got the ball to Halloran, and the cut across is intercepted by O'Neill. Had to be there. Blackwood was stationed at the top of the box, and even though the ball is at his feet now, the foul on Payne came first. Knee on knee there from Ryan Kiddo. Connor Payne is back up. Kennedy just goes for distance. Kiddo. O'Neill. Jakobsen. Who's going to put it on the deck? Matt Miller. And then late contact. Foul whistled. Do they take it quickly? They do. It's been the characteristic so far. Just to keep the ball trying to move. Hasn't exactly been breakneck speed. Straight out for a throw it goes. There's Ryan Strain, looking sad on the touchline. The facial expression says it all. Attempted long throw, didn't get a huge amount of distance, and yet it may still prove tricky to defend. Boland nudged off the ball and then steered the wrong way by Adelaide. Out for a corner kick it goes.
Well, the key there, the long throw, they've allowed the ball to bounce. Once you're allowed to bounce there and twice, it's very difficult to get it away.
Saw a scramble at one end. That was not quite the same level of immediacy and urgency, but scramble it was. And now the resulting corner. Headed down, Carregan. It's a big header from Jakobsen, leaning into the ball.
That was on target, no doubt.
Aspropotomidis' cross, and Miller puts it over the bar. And it's a chance for us to check in at ground level with Adam Peacock.
Yeah, Adelaide can't find any rhythm at all. I mentioned with Robbie in the pre-game show about Isaias, how much comfortable possession he had earlier in the season. Here's this chance that, as Robbie mentioned, was on target. You see Izzo going one way and the ball ended up going the other. But Isaias has not been able to get comfortable possession today because either Aidan O'Neill or Tom Hiarie paying close attention to him. It's Boland going back to try and start play for Adelaide, and at the moment it's not quite working. I wonder how they can find a way to get their Spaniard leader on the ball more.
Thanks, Adam. Half an hour gone. Mariners arguably now, Robbie, the three best chances in the game.
Yep, Adelaide have, like you said, they've had more passes, but most of that's been in their own half, and they get to these areas and they've struggled for ideas.
Come on, man.
Jakobsen's long ball, and too much for Galloway to chase down. Carregan knocked over Stamatolopoulos. Kurt Ams very much gesticulating that the challenge was legal. Adelaide have the ball, but now down the wrong end as far as they're concerned. Morone to Galloway, pickpocketed by Mallon. And yet still has to try and squeeze out of trouble here, showing his close control. Galloway back in. Carregan with the block tackle.
So he's not happy with the challenge from Carregan.
He's back in action here, but it's a long back pass.
See a lot of those type of challenges in the championship in England.
It's been 6 fouls so far. It's certainly been a game played in decent spirit. Nothing really untoward. It's probably the most physical coming together of the afternoon, and a foul indeed is blown. Connor Payne has been on the end of a couple of Adelaide's 5 fouls so far.
I think that tells the story, doesn't it? Too aggressive.
Jacobson will turn his focus to aerial defending now. Payne back up. But the Mariners had previously played these mid-range free kicks quickly. This one, they will set up at the top of the area. Mallon, it's low and flat, straight onto the boot of Isaias. And then preventing any form of counter-attack. That foul on Boland.
Not needed, because there was no counter-attack he was going to eventuate, because he was completely isolated.
And it is going to be a yellow card for Jem Carregan. First booking of the game.
That's where Isaias is clever. The last challenge, he was in the referee's face saying it was a poor challenge on him. This was 3 or 4 minutes ago. That sticks in the referee's mind, I think.
I suspect that might have been for kicking the ball away.
Yep.
They all add up, the little things.
Just been lethargic, Adelaide, going forward. Little movement. Stamatopoulos really isolated. Look at you, pick up the ball here, you'll soon have 3 on him. And he's done well to somehow 2 defenders around him to get a throw in.
Isaias. First thought to go backwards. Jacobson to Morone. Galloway. And it's knocked the wrong way by Blackwood, but it will fall to Kiddo. Numbers lined up, edge of the 6-yard box. Blackwood is up and headed away by Aspropotamidis. Isaias! The volley finds the corner. Adelaide lead. And Isaias says, that's my number. Adelaide, 1-0.
Well, he hasn't had a presence in the game, what we've been used to in respect to setting the tempo, getting on the ball, spraying passes. But I tell you what, he doesn't score many, but this is a real quality strike. On the volley, nearly a scissor action. There was a ball, second phase of an attack. Kiddo with the cross. This was a pretty good header there, back across. George Blackwood's there, that header. It's got height, but it doesn't have distance, and Isaias, unmarked, attacks the ball. And that is a really tidy finish. There's the scissor action, keeps it down, controlled, super strike.
Scored against them last time the teams met. They were already his favourite A-League opponent, Central Coast. That's his 4th goal against them. 2 of them coming this season. It does mean with 10 minutes plus stoppage until half-time, Adelaide, for all the lethargy they had shown, now have a lead.
Yeah, their first really good chance. It falls to Isaias, and he dispatched it.
Boland.
I think what will be disappointing from Alan Stadgik's point of view, that they'd really contained Adelaide with ease. And just nobody picking up Isaias. He's the one who attacks the ball. Defensive header. had a bit of height, but didn't have the distance required, dropped into that area, but still, he had a lot to do.
And they continue to own the ball. No real change to the pattern of the game after the opening goal. Morone. Galloway. Mallon can't keep it in.
That's the cross. That's the header there, and that defensive header doesn't have distance. I think it's Aspro. And, you know, he had a clear look at it. If you're going to head it straight back out, you have to get distance.
Marco Kurtz certainly up and invested now. His team's attacking shape, trying to trap Central Coast in their defensive half. Mallon. Jakobsen. Michael Morone. Intercepted by Carregan, but there is no one.
No, because when they sit back, it's a real block. You can see Stajic has worked on this formation defensively. Carregan's sitting in front of the back four. There's little space between the lines. And they block those passing lanes.
Rolls with the long clearance. Jakobsen. Halloran's header on. Hiarie. Denied the ball by Isaias. Clisby. Aerial ping pong back and forth. And now Payne to O'Neill. See Matt Miller. Just turned on the afterburners. Made the run and it was honoured. And now the cross high and looping. Mallon won't get a play at the ball as Galloway puts it behind.
Oh, terrific bursting run from Miller. Goodwin couldn't go with him. Clips that one to the back post, and Mallon's probably not his strength, but Galloway well positioned to head of the way, but the Mariners do get a corner, maybe a set piece for them.
Matt Miller, who's Endeavour won the corner. Hiarie picks out an Adelaide defender. Payne, Clisby. Murray's timed his run, and then he only succeeded in steering it back towards the keeper.
Yeah, not an easy one. He's at full stretch. He was onside. Referee's assistant did not put his flag up. So that's another half chance for the Central Coast. Simple ball back in. He is stretching for it, so he couldn't get really any power.
That angle shows how well he did to get there, and that's the tight call for offside. In the meantime, Adelaide go looking for a second. Goodwin really trying to re-engage with this game. We've barely called his name.
Yeah, and Goodwin there.
And now that's the sort of pass that will certainly help. Sweeping into the byline. The cutback doesn't get any juice as Payne clears away.
Yeah, just talking on Goodwin there. Ball from George Blackwood was a really good one. He was one-on-one. Didn't have the confidence to take it on.
Blackwood, the target here, swarmed by Carregan. The follow-up from Boland, and that is high and wide.
Now, I think when Goodwin's in good form, he gets one-on-one. He's going to try and get around the outside, get it, you know, make a half yard, get it on his left foot. And there, just can't understand why he comes back on his right foot.
So 5 minutes plus stoppage until the break. Adelaide leading thanks to Isaias's goal.
You see, there's the ball. So Blackwood, nice pass out. Oh, that's the Mirko Boland shot, which was probably not worth seeing again, but anyway, we saw it.
Jakobsen. Kitto. Isaias. Galloway stops and props. Good little burst. Kiddo dragging Payne with him all the way. But he sliced it. Goal kick.
Yeah, it looked like he'd done the hard part, Kiddo. Made that half a yard, but couldn't get in the type of ball he wanted to. And he's been busy, and he's had a lot of ball down that left-hand side as Goodwin's tucked in into the pockets, allowed that space for him to get forward.
Jakobsen. Blackwood can't control. Rolls. Clears without direction. Stamatopoulos. Long ball from Kiddo, of course, for Goodwin to go and chase. Miller is there first, and the ricochet breaks kindly. Clisby. Breaking into the open space on the left side. And now Adelaide try to close the gaps. Clisby gets caught by the black.
Oh, he could have kept going. Why did he come back, Clisby? Terrific run. And Mallon played it back into him, and it still had space in front of him, and he came back.
Was backtracking Blackwood, who got him. And now Adelaide take over once again. Potamidis' header. We can't keep it in. Galloway forced backwards, and in the last 2 minutes, maybe we'll see a bit more pressing energy from Central Coast. Carregan's header. Boland. Blackwood. Runners breaking. And it nearly slides to Halloran. Can't find him, though. Credit to Clisby. And then Boland goes and wins possession back. Goodwin. Off the midriff of Miller. Second chance then for Goodwin. And that one is in the keeper's airspace.
Such a poor ball from Mirko Boland to Goodwin. Far too much weight on it. It overloaded down the left-hand side. He just needed to a little soft pass, and Goodwin would have had a clear strike at goal.
And so in the last minute of the half, Central Coast pursue their equaliser. Can they come up with at least a chance? Mallon. Galloway follows him every step of the way. Now out of a 1-on-2, Mallon trying to squirm and scramble. He goes to ground. A lot of the fans in that corner voice their disapproval, but no foul forthcoming. Carregan able to nick it into the path of Hiarie. Scramble for the ball. Stamatopoulos tries to turn and go. And it cannons back off Hiarie to his keeper. Kai rolls. Fourth official Stephen Laurie showing 2 minutes of additional time. Of course, the injury to Ryan Strain did force one sub in this half. O'Neill. Clisby to Mallon. Again, showing his dribbling skill, and this time it does get the reward as Isaias fouls him.
Showed him inside. Galloway, that was right because there was bodies there, and Allen was good enough just to evade Isaias and draw the foul. Good position for Hiarie.
So one last stand for Adelaide to try and take their lead to the break. Hiarie, good elevation on the free kick, but Adelaide's aerial defence has stood up to all of it so far. Payne with the follow-up. That one is lofted well over.
You know, I think for both coaches, Marco Kurtz, of course, will be happy with the scoreline, but I don't think he'll be overly ecstatic with the performance. He'll be obviously happy that they've controlled the game for large parts. Most of that has been really in their own half. But he won't be fooled. They've really had one chance and they've taken it. And for Stajic, it'll be that one individual mistake that's cost them, and he'd be reasonably pleased with what they've done. You can see his organisation, the way he's set up, they've worked on it. You know, they don't want to leak goals, but they're going to have to just find a little bit more going forward. And maybe in the second half, you know, press a little bit higher at times. And of course, they do have a strong-looking bench, really. Hull, McGlinchey, Matt Simon.
That pass from Morone gives up the ball in a potentially dangerous area if the Mariners can shift it. Well, that won't help. And indeed, it is met by the halftime whistle. So Isaias's goal, a neat little scissor kick into the corner, is the difference between the teams so far. It certainly hadn't been his half up to that point, but his goal is the decisive one so far. And so at Central Coast Stadium, in a half that didn't quite reach the heights we might have anticipated, it is Central Coast Mariners 0, trailing Adelaide United 1. And to get some instant reaction, Adam Peacock.
Thanks, Theo. Tight first half, Aidan. You're a bit mystified how you're actually going in behind.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we started really well. And, you know, this gaffer's brought a new dimension to the team, and, you know, we're all pretty unlucky. It was a great finish. And I've also hit one off the bar. You know, if I score that, makes a big difference going into the first half. But I think if we come back out as strong as we started, we're definitely in with a chance.
You have to tweak something. You kept it very, very compact and hard for them to play, which worked. But now that you're chasing the game, does it change things the way you have to approach it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we don't want to lose any games, so we've got to change it and try to score goals. And we know they're a quality side, so we have to be at our best.
Thanks, mate. See you in the second half.
Cheers.
Aidan O'Neill there. We're off to a short break here live from Gosford. Back in a moment, myself and Bruce Gite to have a look at all the highlights. Adelaide lead 1-0. Ian, you there? Hello, mate. What we got? Goal? Yep. Yep. No, chuck him in. Yep. Cool.
What are we discussing?
Yep.
I'll just get you guys to send
Have you got the stats? That's really bright, that one. No, I can't see anything at the moment. Really? Yeah.
They're good.
Friends Bar of Florida Beach Bar in Carregan is our Mariners' favourite beach bar. The Mariners soak up the sun and the fun with them.
Tell Robbie he's doing the news cross so Bruce he can go after half time.
What are we discussing? This is goal?
Can you hear Bruce?
No.
No? Nothing?
Nothing.
Bruce is up to hardwire.
Should I be hearing someone? Oh, I don't know if anyone's talking. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, I can hear that.
Huh? You
I
did?
can hear that. Yeah. 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 That's it, yeah.
Absolute best attitude that we need. Take yourself up to the start line up there. We're going to come along to this end as well. I mean,
Welcome back to Central Coast Stadium. Central Coast Mariners didn't have a lot of the ball in the first half, but what they did, they produced some real chances. Unfortunately, not one of them forced Paul Izzo to turn around and pick it out of his own net. But Central Coast had one of those moments. Ben Kennedy had one of those moments after a wonder strike from their captain, Isais, has given the Reds a 1-0 lead here in Gosford. Welcome back. Adam Peacock alongside Bruce Gite. It's hard to say it's undeserved for Adelaide because they had so much of the ball, but they weren't at their fluent best. Still, one moment, one goal.
One moment, one goal, and that's what counts. You know, the Mariners had more moments, no goals. So, you know, they've been a little bit unlucky hitting the crossbar, but a fantastic strike from Isais, player with top-class technique, and he showed that in the goal.
About 5 minutes after, I mentioned up to the boys upstairs that he's not really getting involved and Mariners are taking care of him. It was one of the few moments that he wriggled free of his captors, if you like, and was able to produce something out of the top drawer.
Yeah, he did. He produced a fantastic effort, and I think, you know, the defensive header off this cross is just a poor one. You know, heading it straight back to the top of the box, and you know, that's a fantastic strike. I've seen that 9 times out of 10 go sailing over the bar. So for Isais to be able to keep it down and the technique he used to do that, put it in the bottom corner, not much Ben Kennedy could do. But this defensive header, you know, that needs to go out to the side.
Yeah. Away from danger, it went to danger, and in the end they were made to pay. Central Coast Mariners. Overall though, how have you found the way that they've approached this? It's pretty careful. The tempo of the match is not exactly through the roof, but they're keeping things very, very compact and getting the ball and creating chances off that. Is that the right way to go to get back into the game now?
Well, not to get back into it, but also it's not a matter of now going all guns blazing to try and get a goal back. You know, they're well within the game. They've been playing some good stuff. They're moving the ball around, and this is what comes with a change of coach. It doesn't matter. You're always going to get a reaction from your players, and the Mariners that last played here and the Mariners that are playing here tonight is chalk and cheese. You know, very different. You know, Aidan O'Neill unlucky there. He hits the crossbar. And look, they're fashioning chances, they're creating chances, they're pressuring Adelaide when they don't have the ball. There's a will, there's a want to get a result out of this game. They've just been unlucky. They haven't had that finishing touch so far.
So what do they need? Does Jordan Murray need someone closer to him? Because he has been doing well to hold up things when it's come to him and play off him.
They need to get more support around Jordan Murray. They need to keep the ball better, and they need to keep the ball more higher up the pitch. They need to start playing in Adelaide United's half. They need to start playing closer to that goal to create more chances and to win the ball in transition and make a quicker transition to threaten Adelaide's goal a bit more.
What about Adelaide United? I think the stat, they've got about 225 completed passes in that half. I reckon about 150 to 170 of them would have been in their own half almost, or just inside Central Coast half. What they've been able to produce at the moment, what needs to flick for them?
Look, I think you're talking about a team that's been in a rut in terms of results. They haven't gotten results. Now they're up. It's a fresh feeling for them. It's a new feeling. They'll be wanting to hold on to this lead. Try sneak another goal if they can, but whatever they do, not concede another goal, and that's how they're going to win this game, and that's what they're going to have to concentrate on in the second half.
Yeah, I think it was their first goal in about 335 minutes of A-League football, Adelaide United. So they're happy about that. We're off to a short break, second half not too far away, and right after this, from Gosford, we've got Shootout with Tara Rushton and the boys. Tara, what's coming up?
Yeah, thanks, Adam. Shootout is back tonight. We've got lots of football action heading your way as we wrap up all of the best bits from across the weekend. It's game on. The race for the plate just got a little juicier as reigning champions. Melbourne Victory upset table toppers Perth Glory on a cracking night at HBF Park. The Wanderers, well, they reminded us of what they're made of, stunning Melbourne City, whilst the Knicks made their title aspirations known with a barnstorming result over the Jets. Archie, he has his Archibald Prize. And Darren Lewis joins us live from London with all the Premier League news. We will see you straight after full time.
Hyundai A-League Round 23 concluding with Central Coast Mariners against Adelaide United. The first game at Central Coast Stadium under new manager Alan Stuycic. Adelaide United trying to lock down their spot in the top 6. And for the home Mariners, in come Aidan O'Neill and Kai Rolls to the starting 11. Out of the squad, Sam Graham, Peter Kikeris, Josh Nisbet, Lewis Miller, Mario Chabot and Joe Gauchi. Welcome back to Melling, Hull, McGlinchey, Matt Simon and Pearce. For Adelaide United, George Blackwood and Apostolos Stamatoulopoulos into the starting 11, while Yordi Thomason, still yet to score, is consigned to the bench, along with Nathan Konstantopoulos. Ben Halloran makes his debut for the first time in 6 weeks, and no spot in the squad for Ilso, Milejusnic and Armiento. Central Coast making their way back onto the pitch with it all to do, trailing Adelaide United 1-0 at half-time. In this final match of A-League Round 23, Isaias scored the only goal of the first 45, and now Adelaide, who are putting a major down payment on a top 6 spot if they can get the 3 points today, are 45 minutes away from what would be a bit of a drought-breaking win. Hadn't won in 5 coming into this one. They were forced into one first-half substitution as well, with Ryan Strain going off with a left hamstring injury. Central Coast yet to turn to their bench. Central Coast, if they do lose or draw today, will have the record fewest points through 23 games. And it was a big half-time team talk, I'm sure, for Alan Starcic. Second game in charge. And Robbie Slater, I do wonder how long until we see a bit of a change of tone and characteristic from this Mariners team.
Well, I think you won't wait too long. You'd expect to see, if it stays like this, Matt Simon. We know what he can bring. Certainly what you're talking about. Enthusiasm, energy. And there was, not a lot wrong with their output in the first half. It was, they did sit back a little bit. They allowed Adelaide to control the ball, but Adelaide only really had that one chance, and they'll rue the couple of chances that they missed, the Central Coast. So maybe just a little bit more tempo, a bit more intensity going forward for the Mariners. And the same could be said for Adelaide.
Shadows have now crept across the ground, by the odd pocket, peeking through from behind the main stand. Jacobson runs through one of them right on cue to Kitto. Moved into the left-back position after the departure of Strain, and then Galloway switched from left-back over to right-back. Just the one booking in that first half as well. Jem Carregan has his name in the referee's book. Mallon gives up possession. And then Halloran knocked over by Clisby. Adelaide trying to own the ball in a more advanced area. Try and turn the heat up on Central Coast. Kitto. Payne sticks with him. Kitto doubling back. And the cross is allowed to slide through the box. Not enough bend.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that ball. And both flat-footed, both Halloran and Stamatopoulos. Look at him. So he cuts back in here. Not sure they would have got to that, but you've at least got to make an effort.
Morone. Blackwood. Did well to hold his ground, and now Goodwin striking it into space. Stamatopoulos, let's see what he can do. Aspropotomitis holds him up, and Stamatopoulos still lets fly. And that was the duel I'd been waiting for all game, Robbie. Apostolos Stamatopoulos against Jonathan Aspropotomitis, but sadly it did not deliver.
Well, he just lacked. Well, the ball from Goodwin was a decent one. He's one-on-one. He really lacked conviction attacking Aspro. It was a nothing really sort of shot. Never threatened Kennedy's goal.
So a few little warning signs for Central Coast that Adelaide are trying to hustle in these first couple of minutes of the second half. Now Jem Carregan trying to swing the pendulum. Sends it out in front of Connor Payne. Jordan Murray making a bit of a back post jog rather than a back post run. And now the ball may still arrive with him under Carregan's cross, and he wandered into an offside position. You don't see it too often from Central Coast. They did come into today by far with the fewest offsides in the A-League. Adelaide the second fewest.
They both got the least amount of goals.
That's indeed true, yes.
Those two are somehow together.
Archie Thompson was onto something, Robbie. Payne.
Archie was the master of getting caught offside, but I'll tell you what else he was master of, not getting caught offside. It's the one time he didn't get caught offside. It's usually in the back of the net.
Aidan O'Neill. Can the Mariners spend a bit more time on the ball in this second half? So happy just to give up possession to Adelaide in the first 45. Clisby. Pass that's asking too much of Mallon. Morone happy to just let the ball trickle over the line.
So the first half they were happy to allow Adelaide to play out. Adelaide will still play out. They're pushed right up this time.
Jakobsen's long ball. Bit of fortune to the ball bouncing off the back of Stamatolopoulos and still falling into his path. Boland. Isaias. Shouts of time to Clisby, but with Halloran right there behind him, he pops it up and under. Attempt to roll by Stamatolopoulos. Kai rolls, knocked him off the ball. Carregan. Hugging the line, Morone to Galloway. And then cleverly loses the Central Coast left side, then can't keep the ball.
Well, he's done the hard part, and then he's already thinking of what he's going to do next without concentrating on that touch. It was a great burst, and it all ends in disappointment. Look at that great piece of skill. And all ends in nothing.
All 20 outfield players have clustered in one central position in the pitch. And it is a foul that will cause them to disperse. Kurt Ams, today's referee, just wanting a word with Kai Rolls. As the Central Coast bench, their subs include Andrew Hull, Michael McGlinchey, Matt Simon and Jacob Melling. So a very experienced A-League bench, a lot of seniority there. And now Craig Goodwin will get himself a booking.
And that sums up his afternoon so far, Craig Goodwin. It's just not even been able to get himself into the game. Here's a poor touch ball played into him. He's lost that ball and lashes out in frustration.
Really, Matt Miller is the action man for Central Coast. If they're going to break the lines and get a bit of forward energy, he's the man to provide it, isn't he?
Well, the difficulty with that is he's playing right fullback, so when they sit deep, it's very hard for him to get forward. But their best moments in that first half came from his bursting runs down the right-hand side.
Len Starcic barking instructions from the sideline. Headed by Morone. Carregan. Mallon set up perfectly for his left peg, and then he couldn't capitalise. Mallon. Yari anticipated the pass, but the ball does not fall kindly. Blackwood rolls away from Aspropotamidis and plays it into the path of Halloran. Totally unmarked, Craig Goodwin! And it's a good save from Kennedy. The shot straight at him, and Goodwin inexplicably finds the keeper rather than the net.
And that sums up, he hasn't been able to get into this game. This is a brilliant break. First by Blackwood, perfect ball. And that's a shot from a player low on confidence.
Where on earth was the Mariners' defence? Luck's a fortune for Kennedy. He's able to snaffle the ball after the shot was more or less straight at him. And Adelaide now have a 3-on-3 if they can hustle. Here comes the cavalry, though. The midfield backtracking in the form of Carregan. Miller. Payne. A deft touch into the path of O'Neill. Jakobsen cools things down.
What a chance for Craig Goodwin. We'll have to wait and see whether that comes back to haunt them. Perfect ball from Halloran. Great pace down the right-hand side. No conviction whatsoever in that attempted finish. Ben Kennedy, probably the most surprised of all.
Think back to the Craig Goodwin at the start of the A-League season, intertwined with the FFA Cup final. Just the lethal finishing, the confidence, the difficulty to defend, it's all evaporated now. He still has 9 goals for the A-League season, but like Adelaide, his own personal tally has really come to a halt. Here we just wait for a throw-in to finally take place. Halloran, Mirko Boland, Kiddo, and Goodwin. Can he turn provider instead? Slows to a walk. Back to Jakobsen. 10 minutes of the second half expired. Adelaide have started to press the issue a bit more as they try to double their lead. Central Coast haven't exactly switched gears, and that's a clumsy challenge from Hiarie. Bold. Halloran didn't contest in the end. Mallon. Murray. Sold Clisby right into trouble. That is a desperate intervention from Rolls.
Yeah, an important one as well. Halloran looking very sharp on that right-hand side.
Which will be a good sign for Adelaide. He's missed 6 games. On the ball here. Boland. Jakobsen. Kiddo. Matt Simon is taking off the track top on the sideline, so maybe a bit of white line fever and a bit of aggression about to come into this Mariners team, because they are lacking bite at the moment.
We'll buckle in because he's going to provide bite. There's no doubt about it.
So Simon coming back from suspension. Suspect it'll be the next break in play. Galloway in the meantime. Jakobsen. Goodwin knew where Kiddo was, stroking it into his path. Kiddo, and the low ball is cleared by Aspropotamidis. While on the defensive, Central Coast will hold off on the sub. Kiddo again attacking the near post.
Good positioning from Aspro. That was a better ball from Kiddo. A little bit too easy for Adelaide at the moment. Stajic will hope that Matt Simon can provide a spark.
And he'll be coming on to replace Stephen Mallon. Hasn't been the best showing in a team sense for Mallon. He's shows plenty of great close control and individual skill, but linking up with his teammates has been perhaps the issue in the game. Matt Simon comes on, and his first duty is to defend a corner.
Rare, you see a change in the defensive corner.
Which Isaias takes. And then off the initial header, it looked as though it was a clearance from O'Neill, but instead it fell to Jakobsen at the far post, and he's unable to double his A-League tally of just the solitary goal. As Ben Halloran, who was subbed on for the injured Ryan Strain in the first half, has stayed down here, and the trainer is coming out to assess.
Just caught between two. I think Riles and Matthew Miller. They caught one in the ribs.
We saw him with a sore shoulder in the first half.
He's putting, looks like the glute. Thumbs up, so he's going to be okay. Caught in the sandwich. So the Mariners 2 up front. You would think Murray and Simon. See how they readjust here. Jordan Murray's coming out to the right-hand side.
Did a magic spray. Halloran is walking and then jogging freely once again. As he tails around to the halfway point of the pitch, Mariners have a man advantage. Miller goes up. Oh, and the flag is waving. It's going to be judged as a foul.
Yeah, a little bit harsh. Thought he attacked the ball there fairly. Kiddo was backpedaling. He was always struggling. A long diagonal ball.
Are we sure, Robbie? Is there a foul there?
Not for me.
Halloran back on in the meantime, so Adelaide's full complement of 11 restored. Interesting attempt at an overhead kick from Stamatolopoulos. Matt Simon, first real involvement, wrestled off the ball by Jakobsen. Charging through Carregan. Clisby rising above Halloran. And then at ground level, Halloran is able to bounce back up with the ball. Neat pass. Goodwin can't beat it. Miller keeping him honest. Michael Kurtz resumes his seat, folds the arms. Goodwin wanted Kiddo. Instead, ricochet out for a goal kick. Aiden O'Neill, space to roam now in the defensive half. Can he pick the right pass? And Simon is offside. Tight call. Second offside of the day for Central Coast. Just 30 in 23 games this year. O'Neill gifted it to Blackwood. And Blackwood, with a deflection, that took all the sting out of the shot. Trying to score against Central Coast for the third game in a row. George Blackwood, it was his stoppage time winner at Coopers Stadium last time the teams played. Simon, providing a physical presence, if nothing else, underneath some of these hopeful long balls. And then Murray does foul Kiddo.
Carregan every ball that goes out, according to him, is a Central Coast ball. Which, fair play. You've got to try.
Adelaide went across their back four from the restart. All the way back to Izzo. Rolls with a run at the ball. From the blind side is an offside, Hiarie. Kennedy lured out of his penalty area. Just had to take that one extra step. Pops it into the crowd. Adelaide trying to move it quickly. Galloway. Boland. Kiddo. Jakobsen. Now Simon gets stuck in. Foul given. It's taken up a rather large divot as well, which Boland is happy to rearrange. So you see it popped up under his right foot there. Play continues though.
This pattern has been, for most part, the game. Adelaide in comfortable possession. How can the Mariners break with that kind of pass?
And then Murray, overzealous in trying to make up for that mishit pass, goes and fouls Jakobsen.
And they haven't been, well, there's still a long time to go. Plenty of time, but that's where they were lethal in that second half against Newcastle. When they won the ball, the transition was emphatic with the 3 goals they scored.
Isaias. Boland.
Goodwin, a chance to turn there. He's in a good position.
Now he sells the contacts. Carregan for a man on a yellow. Regular dialogue with the referee. Free kick. Another mid-ranger. Now no longer any sun or shadows to contend with. Central Coast have walked Andrew Hall up to the sideline, and they'll be hoping that he's not entering the game with his team 2-0 down. Then Kennedy trying to get attention by kicking the post there.
I think it worked.
Eventually his teammates heed the instructions. And so, free kick Adelaide on the boot of Isaias. And it is a teaser to the far post. And having to hurdle over the advertising hoardings is Jakobsen. His header nowhere near the goal.
No, slightly overhit. Jakobsen started central, wrapped his run around to the back post, but the ball from Isaias just had too much on it.
And there is Central Coast's second change. Not Jordan Murray's day. He leaves.
Well, it could have been a different story. Think back to that free header. Middle of the goal, just outside the 6-yard box. I'm sure he'll be thinking about that as well.
And so Andrew Hall makes his return to the Mariners team. Of course, was not part of the 8-2 defeat to Wellington due to club-imposed suspension. As we see rolls here, and as it hits the corner flag, it just goes throw inside.
Match Stamatopoulos for pace there, Rolls. That was an important challenge.
So Galloway marks out his run-up, hurls the ball. Doesn't get a huge amount of distance on it, though. Isaias, little chop pass, gets a second chance. That's a neat little sidestep. Stamatelopoulos threw himself at the ball. Rolls kept his feet. Halloran flicking on. Again, it's Kai Rolls clearing. Blackwood spinning away from Rolls this time. Galloway on the overlap. It's going to fall on the head of Miller. Not cleared decisively. Herring around is Kiddo. Now Boland. And Hiarie won the ball cleanly. Poole. Fans find their voice as Central Coast, a rare attacking foray. And Isaias knocks over Jem Carregan.
Going to stop that counter. And they just messed it up, Adelaide, and they were trying to punish them with the quick counter attack. Isaias knew that if he doesn't get the ball, he's going to get the man. Carregan probably quite rightly asking, how come I got a yellow card and this one isn't?
Just trying to point out where Isaias had run to. The referee cared not. Free kick, just drifting. And it skims off the pack. Halloran wasn't going to take the risk on it being waved a goal kick, so he gets across and clears. Into the final 20 minutes of regulation, we go with Adelaide leading 1-0, thanks to Isaias's volley in the first half. As you see there, Adelaide still with 2/3 possession since the restart. Kennedy's clearance.
And they've had the one big chance of the half. Craig Goodwin, and you still feel there's something left in this game.
Matt Miller might just be the man to provide it. He's got to find a way past two Adelaide players, though, and he can't. Boland, hold up work from Goodwin. Forces them right back to the edge of the defensive area. Hippopotamus, that one off the shoulder. Rolls. A couple of Mariners with time and space. Hiarie. This is where he can be dangerous. Feeds it into the path of Miller. Shoulder to shoulder against Kiddo. And he bounces right back up Matt Miller. How's the cross? Straight to Isaias. And then danger here. Jem Carregan got a boot in. Deflected to Isaias.
Well, one of their best chances. Well, the best chance of the second half in respect to the situation. Matt Miller couldn't find anyone. Could only find Isaias, who, as usual, and we see so often, positioned himself perfectly.
Jordy Thomason has received his final instructions as Carregan slides in. Oh, he's going to be sent off. Yellow card number 2 for the challenge on Jakobsen. And Jem Carregan sees red.
Well, he gets sucked in because the pass from, or the flick from Isaias draws him into thinking he can get the ball. And that's the second yellow card. And that's where he's got to be clever. He's got enough experience to know that he's on a yellow. I know that it's his style, all action. But if he was ever going to be just a touch late, it was always going to be a yellow card. But like I said, it wasn't a great pass from Isaias, and it gave him the hope that he could get in, and unfortunately you can't be sliding in like that. It's definitely a yellow card. There's the pass there from Isaias. You see Isaias' reaction, he knows. He knows that his pass wasn't the best. And Marco Kurtz feels some empathy for Carregan, but I'm sure the other side of him will be quite relieved to be 11 v 10.
Well, a smattering of applause from the Mariners home fans, and indeed it was the opposing gaffer rather than the home team consoling the player who was sent off.
Well, to be fair, he came off right next to the Adelaide bench, so I'm sure he would have got the same reaction if he'd come off near the Mariners bench.
And so Jordy Thomason still waits in the wings. They're not going to change course completely due to the red card, it seems.
No, as much as I feel for Carregan, but he knows he's got experience. He's not an inexperienced player. And he knows he's on a yellow. You can't, those challenges are a thing of yesterday.
So as the board goes up, it's George Blackwood who is coming off. He's trying to score against an A-League opponent for the first time in his career in 3 consecutive games, but not to be. And Thomason, who is still yet to score his first A-League goal. Not quite the end of transfer window sugar hit that Adelaide were hoping for, at least not yet. Can he get off the mark in the remaining 16 minutes? And how do the Mariners adjust, being down a man? Miller with a long ball to Matt Simon. And now Simon able to keep his balance after a slip. Firing the shot, but no power behind it.
And Moroni is the most relieved because a completely unnecessary diagonal ball there cut out by Miller gave the Central Coast Mariners a sniff. Didn't have any other option. Simon didn't get a hold of that. Well, they were comfortable 11 against 11. You'd think they'd even be more comfortable 11 against 10. But sometimes it works in a strange way. Can the Mariners find something?
You suspect that Adelaide fans wanting just to put 3 points in the bank into this winless run will be wondering, can we force the issue and get a second and make it safe? Bold. Goodwin. Kiddo. Galloway trying to make the cross work. Wheels out the back. Isaias. Boland. Kiddo. Moroni. Kiddo. Thomason's on his bike in the middle, calling for the cross. It's over his head, though, and flashed behind for a corner.
He's going to get lots of space, Kiddo. Decent ball in. Thomason maybe just a touch early with his run into the penalty box, but they'll get a corner.
Fostelis Stamatolopoulos, 2 A-League goals in 12 appearances, just the 1 so far this season. Goodwin's corner. Needs that header from Rolls because Moroni and Isaias were waiting at the back post.
And Jacobson. So nice and aggressive Rolls. He's been pretty good today.
Isaias' turn from the left side. Right-footed delivery. It's a scrubber to the near post, and rather than 3 corners in a row, a foul to Central Coast's 8. Clisby. Rolls, played right into trouble. Adelaide trying to close numbers. Aidan O'Neill escapes Thomason. Clisby saw Hiarie. Trying to thread the eye of the needle to Matt Simon. Moroni intercepted. Boland. Gives it up to Matt Miller, and then he plays it straight back to Boland and is caught out of position as a result. 10-man Mariners starting to get stretched. Goodwin. Stamatolopoulos maybe wasn't expecting it at his feet, and he's committed a foul.
And Craig Goodwin, just nothing's going right for him today. Trying to play that one out to Halloran, under-hit it. He had Mirko Boland to the left there. Another really good situation they don't make the most of.
Is this a finger injury or a wrist injury here to Aidan O'Neill? The trainer's coming out to look at the scene. His teammates were waving to the bench straight away as soon as he hit the ground. There it is. You see Stamatopoulos treads right on his wrist. Thus he was quick to apologise.
Yeah, that's painful. Accidental. Stamatopoulos with his eyes completely on the ball.
I hope for Aidan O'Neill's sake it's not a break. But to assess it further, his number's up. And they do have a ready-made alternative in Michael McGlinchey, who will be the third and final change for Central Coast this evening. And with his good hand, he gives a low 5. So on comes McGlinchey with just over 10 minutes of regulation to go. At this stage, Robbie, we're really wondering if Central Coast can create a chance, just one more opportunity to even try and pinch an equaliser here.
Well, they had difficulty doing that with 11, so they now got 10. Look, there's nothing really to lose in respect to... They may as well try and push forward with the 10 and try and get something. And of course, Alan Stadgic coming into the job, you know, after the embarrassment of Wellington, he doesn't want to make it too easy for teams.
Stamatopoulos, Thomason, forced wide, can't drive it back into the mixer. Isaias, firmly over to Kitto, and it's a good cross, which is met by a good defensive header from Rolls.
Really a good cross. Doesn't beat the first man.
Kitto. Hool wins a free kick. So you see Thomason trying to knock the ball out from under him. To the path of Hiarie. Matt Simon now will turn and see Miller breaking on the right. Is this Central Coast's moment? Miller's cross is a letdown. He's going to get a second play at the ball. Hool to Miller. Great touch by Hool. And Miller, this time McGlinchey just scuffed it. Is it third time lucky for Matt Miller then? Crowd rises in anticipation. Simon brings it down. And he's legged. Right at the top of the D. And with Andrew Hool having been subbed on.
Well, they had 3 attempts and Hool's there. And Adelaide only got themselves to blame. They had 3 chances to clear that ball. And Matt Simon does well here because he just protects the ball. There's the first poor clearance. Matt Miller gets another chance. They don't close him down. It's not a great cross. Here's the next chance. And that's a really poor clearance there. That should be in the stands or up the field. And Simon does well. He just draws the foul. And it is a foul.
Paul Izzo, who's been a virtual spectator in this second half, has now set the wall.
And he has conceded quite a few free kicks, Paul Izzo.
There it is. You've got 6 in a gully.
And you think this will be their best chance.
Starved of sights at goal. So much rests on this for Central Coast tonight. It is Andrew Hool into the wall. Did its job. And then the clearance, again, proving problematic. Goodwin slices it backwards. Clisby goes chasing. It's a show of strength between the two. And Clisby gives away a free kick.
Well, the anticipation around the stadium was it was going to be a goal. That's it. And the wall did its job. Craig Goodwin gets away with a scuffed clearance. I think Craig Goodwin's looking to the heavens and thinking, what's happened to me? You know, he's quality. There's no doubt about it. And he's just got to keep going, keep trying, keep demanding the ball to play himself out of his slump in form. I think it's not nasty to say.
Clearance turned through ball almost. Thomason has to duck back to bring it under his control. Halloran, Galloway bombing forward, falling off balance. The REA clears. 6 minutes of regulation to go. Adelaide do have one more sub up their sleeves. Nathan Constantopoulos and Vince Leah, their 2 remaining outfielders available. Right now, a second goal would put any thoughts of going defensive to bed. That little shank off Payne goes to the keeper.
Yeah, just another poor decision in a good area from Galloway. There's no need to rush that.
Long ball from Rolls. Simon trying to make ground, but Morone read it best in the air. And with a slip from Hiarie, away goes Boland to Goodwin. Wheels onto the ball. It's blocked by Aspropotometis once. Goodwin. Important header from Clisby. Halloran was waiting. Payne. And Boland knocks him over. Fans here at Central Coast Stadium do feel as though they haven't quite had the rub of the green. Connor Payne has been the victim of a number of the harder Adelaide fouls through the day. As McGlinchey tries to win back possession here against Jakobsen. To Kitto. Still Kitto. Central Coast get 3 defenders back in position. When they're defending, Andrew Hall is coming to cover for Matt Miller. Down to 10 men. Everyone pulling double duty. Kitto. Miller back in position now, but the ball bypasses him. Goodwin. Aspropotometis. Well, tried to win a goal kick, instead gave up the ball. Miller's there. Little chest-to-chest collision between McGlinchey and the referee. But he's unflustered. But it's a hit and hope. Are we going to see one final flurry from Central Coast? Can they create a chance? And Poole's free kick into the wall. Can they get anything else? Squeeze any more out of this game where Adelaide have dominated possession, controlled the tempo of the game start to finish. Stamatolopoulos to Halloran. Isaias. His goal, the only one of the game.
Not only that, the way he's run the midfield in the second half, best player on the field. Him and Mirko Boland have been crucial in this win, and they've been good at the back as well. Still for Marco Kurtz, that front third.
Cool. Bit of energy to win possession, and then a back heel asking a lot of McGlinchey. Goodwin takes over. Halloran turns and faces the target, and then he drags the shot. Pushed by Morone.
They'll wait here and we need to get bodies in the box here and just get it in there and hope for a second ball, something that drops for them.
Rolls with the free kick. Miller. Oh, flags up. Play whistle dead.
And when you don't have any chances, that's the one thing you don't want, is to just give it away with an offside. Went too early.
Not much in it, just leaning beyond Kiddo. We haven't even really used the letters V, A or R in the same sentence today. Referees have done a good job. Final minute of regulation. Vince Lear is waiting to come on as a time-wasting / lock it down final move from Marco Kurtz. Thomason legged, free kick given. This will bring about the 6th and final substitution in the game, and it's Craig Goodwin who will make the trudge off on a day where things didn't quite break his way, and yet he may still leave on the winning team if Adelaide can hold out for stoppage time.
Well, look, I spoke about him before, and one thing you can't fault him, something that is non-negotiable for a footballer, is effort. He kept demanding the ball, kept out trying things. Just one of those days. I think Marco Kurtz is maybe having that kind of word to him. And there's going to be 5 minutes of injury time, but, you know, if your team gets a win, then it's the best time to have that kind of day. They're not there yet.
No, they're not. 5 minutes. So maybe a new lease of life for the Mariners then. Miller does well to knock Boland away from the ball and then turn and go himself. And he gives it straight to Kiddo. Vince Lear, first touch off the bench.
He rarely loses in those little challenges. Matthew Miller's shoulder to shoulder.
Halloran. Isaias. Thomas. The attempted clearance will spin out for a goal kick. Stamatolopoulos. He's been tackled from behind there by Kai Rolls, and he does get a yellow card. As much as the home fans may protest due to the accumulation of little decisions they might feel haven't gone their way, surely they can't protest this one. From behind, ball not really in the vicinity. And it has doubly hurt the Mariners' cause because the trainer is now out to treat Stamatolopoulos. And that means it's just more precious seconds off the clock. So as things stand, Central Coast on 10 points. The worst record through 23 A-League games is 12. Even if they grab a hard-earned point here against the run, against the odds, it'll still be the worst first 23 games of a campaign. Marco Kurtz takes a look at his watch and chunters away on the sidelines, hoping for full time. So Kennedy's just got to go. That's how the table stands at the moment. Adelaide would be moving 8 points clear of Newcastle. And Melbourne City 7 ahead of the Jets. Theoretically in the hot seat, but the gap would be opening right up.
Thomas just... oh, he does that. Aspro's always going to head that ball out for a throw-in, and he commits a foul when there's no need to. And still time for the Mariners to get it forward.
Can they keep it down at their attacking end, though? Well, they get a free kick.
Good position. And that all comes from Thomason's needless foul at the other end. And this is a good position for Hull.
Gibson with the arm over the shoulder of Matt Simon.
Well, it was a bit 6 to 1, half a dozen the other, but it doesn't matter. What matters is this is an opportunity for the Central Coast to grab an unlikely draw.
You feel it all comes down to this. 5th minute of stoppage time then. Bulls cross. And the header goes out for a goal kick. Matt Miller was there, but the accuracy was not.
And I didn't get the full head on it. Decent ball in from Hull. Manages to get in between, but glances too much the header. Decent chance from what they've had today.
Think back to Jordan Murray's diving header, the first real chance for either team in this game, and they haven't really had too many better than that. Aidan O'Neill put a shot into the crossbar. It was the best of the chances they had. But since Isaias's goal, it's been slim pickings for Central Coast.
Well, Carregan going off didn't help.
And now, as stoppage time expires, Matt Simon, is there one last hurrah? Connor Payne put it high.
Yeah, Matt Simon just makes himself busy in between the defenders and drops on the half volley for Connor Payne. And it's a really good effort. Really well done from Simon to get that header, but unfortunately he's hit it, that half volley on the up, and the ball, instead of going straight, rises.
Adelaide now about to win for the 4th time in a row away at Central Coast. They've never done that against an A-League opponent in the competition's history. Due to the injury to Stamatolopoulos, we've now gone a minute beyond the allocated 5.
Yeah, and look, they've deserved their victory. But Marco Kurtz will be more work to do. They've defended really well. Midfield has been no problem. It's still up front. And I just don't know where the answer lies. And the other thing for Kurtz, if you're looking in towards the finals, is getting a Craig Goodwin back in form. That will be crucial. But job done. They go ahead of Melbourne City and still chasing Wellington in 4th.
And importantly, they avoid going 6 without a win. Isaias's goal is the difference. And Adelaide United return to the winners list. Andrew Hall had some set pieces at the end of the evening. And Adelaide United trying a few different things in attack, with Stamatolopoulos and Thomason still goal